How many of us find ourselves in situations that we feel we've got no control or no hope, and we feel we need to numb the pain in some way? And how many of us turn to alcohol for that? Hello everyone, and welcome back to my channel, Dr. Nick Analyzes. Today I'm gonna do an Oliver Anthony number called Feeling Purdy Good. Now, I've done a couple of other Oliver Anthony songs. One of them's called Rich Men North of Richmond, and the other one's called I Want to Go Home. And both of those songs, they were relatively sad, they were despairing. And so today's going to be an interesting one for me because this one feels more positive, feels like it's more filled with hope. And so I'm excited to see Oliver Anthony sort of bring that to the way that he performs. All right then, let's get on with it.
I've been thinking this drinking is wrecking my health, but I reckon that's better than killing myself. It's been a long, hard ride right down to the bottom, but I sing the blues, 'cause the Lord knows I got 'em.
Oh, I love that. So my video editor Byron is here, and I'm listening through the headphones, and I always want to rewind it and let him listen to what I just listened to. That was absolutely beautiful. I feel as though he's got better since the early videos in terms of like the way that he sings, the way that he performs and stuff. Yeah, I started this video saying I was hoping for something more positive, and it didn't really start off in the most positive way then, but it was absolutely real. It was absolutely raw. It was absolutely authentic. And it said something that I give a lot of thought to, which is, yeah, I'm doing a lot of drinking, but that's stopping me from killing myself. That is doing something right now to numb the pain. And like, man, how many of us, including myself to a certain degree at times, but many, many people I know, how many of us find ourselves in situations that we feel we've got no control or no hope, and we feel we need to numb the pain in some way? And how many of us turn to alcohol for that? This is personal now. This is bringing you into something in my life. This sort of thing happened with my dad. Life had legitimately become an awful lot. He went through some stuff in his childhood. He went through some stuff as an adult, and it was hard for him to deal with it. And the way that he dealt with it was through alcohol. And you know what? While I was in my younger years, like 15, 16 years old and whatnot, I was angry at him. I was really angry at him for drinking. And it was only when I grew up that I really softened around that. And I really thought to myself, do you know what? Given the context, given what had led up to the drinking, I really understand it. You are a human being who found yourself having to deal with an awful lot, and that's the way that you dealt with it. And do you know what? In those moments, it worked. Do you know what I mean? It worked. It helped him to keep going. Now, the downside of that strategy in the long run is health reasons, as in like now your liver isn't going to be working so well. You're going to be pounding on calories and stuff, which is going to make you a bit overweight, which is going to impact upon your bones and all those sort of things. And of course, it's an addiction, right? So it's not easy just to switch it off. And to be honest, it's the same with like antidepressant drugs and other ways of sort of like numbing pain. Like I think that these things they're fine short term to get us out of a hole. If we use them as a long-term strategy, then it's going to lead us in negative ways. Like if we drink, for example, or if we take antidepressant drugs, we numb how we feel. And we need to do that in the short term, but we don't want to numb how we feel forever. Feeling is an important thing for a human being. It gives us lots of information, and like feeling good is a wonderful thing. Like if we're dealing with our suffering, our unwanted thoughts and feelings, in the long run, by doing those things, we're also not only going to be worse with respect to our physical health, but we're also just not going to be able to experience the fullness of life. And so get us out of a hole, fine. You know, doing this stuff in the long term, this is going to be bad for us. All right, let's get back to it.
But I've been feeling pretty good, doing alright. Got a pretty woman coming over tonight, and I reckon that things are gonna be alright when the morning comes. I hate to tell you if the truth's been told, it's all just souls trying not to get sold. You never grow up, you just grow old along the way. But I've been feeling pretty good today. This anxiety and depression, Lord, it's left me second guessing every damn thing I ever gave a damn about. It feels like I work all week, my check is spent on bills and beer and the government. Lord, there ain't much that an old boy can do, but I've been feeling pretty good, doing alright. Got a pretty woman coming over tonight, and I reckon that things are gonna be alright when the morning comes.
I'm really enjoying this. I'm really enjoying it. So at the point at which I paused it last, the song turned a little bit to I'm feeling pretty good, and you know, he's building a relationship. And obviously I know that Oliver Anthony is sort of blown up from nowhere, and I know that his sense of faith in his religion has grown stronger. And so those things, I think, put him in a better place psychologically, right? It means that he feels like he's contributing to the world in positive ways. And so like to see him sing this song in like a more upbeat way is a lovely thing. It's a lovely thing for me to see. He said one line, he was like, we never grow up, we just grow old. I found that really, really interesting. It like speaks to the idea that as human beings, like, I don't know, maybe we think we become more wise over time, but actually sometimes we don't. Sometimes we don't make wise decisions as we get older. And there was one other thing as well that I was going to pick up on. What was it? What was the thing that I was going to pick up on? That's what I was going to say. He said, I work all week and my paycheck comes in. And then by the time I've spent the money on rent, on the government, and on beer, there's nothing left. Sometimes people think that mental health problems, I don't like the word mental health problems, I'm going to say suffering, right? Psychological suffering. It exists without context. It doesn't make any sense. If he works all week, if he slogs away all week, and if when his money comes in, he's got enough money for rent for the government and to get a few beers, then like, what sort of life do we really think this fella's going to be able to live? He's not going to be able to live a full and meaningful life with that little resource. And it speaks to the idea that psychological suffering does not happen outside of the realms of context, of society, of like capitalism, of all of those like wider things that are going on, you know? And like the bottom line is if he earned enough money to pay those things and to go camping every fourth weekend, well, then maybe his life's a little bit different. Maybe he can go for a meal once a week. Maybe he can go for coffee. Maybe he can, I don't know, fly to a different part of the States and climb up a big hill. Do you know what I mean? Like with resource, you can do all those things, and those things, they add meaning to our life. Like A lot of the therapists that I know will say that therapy is about behavioral variability or behavioral variation. In other words, when they get a client in front of them, their job is to make the client somehow do more stuff. And as those clients do more stuff, they'll contact the reinforcing contingencies of doing that stuff. Their life gets fuller, it gets bigger, there's more stuff going on. And so therapy becomes about that, about making lives bigger. Now, when you've got no resource, you can't make your life bigger. And so, of course, you're going to suffer as a result. And so, like, it feels like a really important thing as a psychologist for people out there to know, which is, look, if you're feeling down and you've got a lack of resource, then the reason you're feeling down isn't because you've got a chemical imbalance or something wrong with your head, or like it's not because you're weak. It's because you haven't got a lot of resource. You can't get behavioral variation or variability into your life. All right, back to it.
Well, I hate to tell you if truth been told, exalted souls try not to get sold. You never grow up, you just grow old along the way. But I've been feeling pretty good today. The dogs just have to be a part of it. Thanks for watching. Listen to them howling.
Look at that. He's such a sincere fellow, that Oliver Anthony, you know. And I really think it's good that he's got this status and he's able to sort of like support people and be a role model with it. Like, that was so authentic, right? There was no frills or spills there. It's just him with a camera in his shed, and at the end of it, he's just pressing stop. I bet, you know, he hasn't got really sophisticated mics and video camera recording equipment and all that sort of stuff. He's so raw and authentic and genuine, and there's something really endearing about seeing that. You know, an example of that is the dogs. You know, if he really, really cared about like his public perception and all those sort of things, he'd have taken the dogs somewhere else for a few hours while he did his recording. But he didn't. He just left the dogs outside. They're doing what they want. He pressed record on a camera, and next thing he knows, he's creating, you know, this really sort of like lovely, meaningful music that's delivered in a really sincere and authentic way. You know, I think I'll always be. I'm fond of anyone that loves dogs. My next book is going to be called Why Not Become a Dog? Like, man, do I love dogs. And so he'll always be up there for me just because of his love of dogs. But I think more than that, he just seems like a nice human. You know, he seems like someone that is trying to do good in the world, and someone that's sincere, but also willing to be vulnerable and open about some of the struggles that human beings have. And I think that's connecting. I think that supports people. I think that lets people know they're not alone. And so good on Oliver Anthony. I wish him the very best of luck and all the success in the world. All right, another lovely song to react to. Thank you for watching it, and catch me next time.
Good. All right. I could use some of it.
The first bit of that song. So like I said, when I did the previous video, I was like, is he particularly good at singing? I'm thinking like Whitney Houston and flipping Sam Cooke and those sort of singers. I think he's not brilliant. He's a good singer.
Yeah.
But he's not like, ooh, wow, this person can sing. Like in the guitar playing, it was all right, but I've seen a million better guitar players. But the beauty of it was the message. But then there was like a real soul and like a bluesiness to the way that he was singing. It was really, I thought it was really good. And it was real, do you know what I mean? Like talking about ways of like dealing with stuff and and how that process happens, you know.
But we don't grow up. Is it? I'm trying to think of an age where I was like, I am now a man.
Yeah.
And in my head,
I've now got my shit together.
Yeah, I got a badge.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah. I've completed all, got a certificate. Yeah.
It was only when my boy was born that I didn't feel like I was a man, but then my perspective and my priorities shifted.
Yeah.
But like now, I get giddy over stupid. I turned 40.
Yeah.
And I bought an electric skateboard. I'm 40 going on 5. You know,
yeah,
I got to wear diapers to go down the road just in case I shit.
yeah,
But we don't grow up.
yeah,
For that, and I think that's where for boys and men, it's always been that we'll always be boys. It's just that
yeah,
we age and we know better.
yeah.
We just learn from experience. But the actual feeling different,
No,
we make better choices sometimes.
yeah, yeah. Sometimes it was an interesting line. I was trying to make sense of it during the analysis. I was like, what's he mean by this? What's he really mean by, we don't we grow old, but we don't grow up. In the context of the song, and I don't know what he meant. Like, it was really possibly, dealing with things in really sort of like unwise ways. I'd say that when I was a kid, that's what I did, and I'd say that most of the people that I know aren't that different in terms of dealing with stuff with unwise ways. But yeah, and then he's feeling pretty good. He's saying, I got a girl coming over tonight and tomorrow morning. Things. So he's looking up. There's a bit more of a hope there. But I wanted to get that idea of behavioral variability across, because I think that's what that shows, which is like he's down in the dumps and not got a lot going on, but all of a sudden just a little bit of variability. Do you know what I mean? Which is like a new relationship, and things can take a turn.
Sometimes change doesn't need to be dramatic.
No.
There comes a point where you realize that my life is always going to have hardship. I've just either been born into the life where there's hardship, and that is my constant. So okay, now that I'm in constant hardship
and accepting of it,
how do I make
that's it
less shit?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
it's
how do I find moments of meaning, moments of light?